Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today in our Leveraging Google Slides for Your Classroom session. My name is Brian Vitorisi. I am a digital learning specialist for the Boston Public Schools, and I'm going to let my counterpart introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Kate Smith-Ziegler, and I am an instructional technology coach for BPS Technology. And I will be walking through this webinar with Brian for everyone today. Okay,
Thanks, Kate. All right, we're
thanks.
glad you all could join us today. All right, so our objectives for this session are to leave with 2 or 3 new ways to leverage Google Slides in your classroom. And within our agenda, we want to look at the topics that we're going to be discussing today. So a forced copy, meaning each student gets a copy of the document, whether it's a Google Doc or a Google Slide, using presenter view, inserting images and videos into your slide presentation, URLs with text and linking slides, text boxes and shapes, inserting screenshots, adding audio files, using tables, editing the theme, and using animation. And if we have time, we will get into something extra using GIFs into your presentation. I'm going to pass this over to Kate.
All right. So let's talk about force copy. When we are looking at different ways that we can use Google Slides in the classroom, we have multiple options. One option is that you're presenting, and we're going to talk about different ways to present and be a presenter using slides. But another is using interactive slide decks where you allow students to write and respond in the slide deck itself. So if you are going to do the force copy route, then I'm going to show you how to do it. There's 2 ways. The first is if you're using Google Classroom, the super simple, easier way, the Google Classroom way, will be that you share the slide deck with the students and each student gets a copy. That way you also have access to their work and you can leave feedback. That's the best way with students. But let's say you are presenting to adults or sharing with families or in ILT meetings. If you're going to use a doc or a slide deck like that, then you can actually create a forced copy. What you'll do is go to the URL and change everything after the /edit, including the edit, and change it to say copy. So I'm going to show you that. Let me X out of here. I'm going to show you that here. Here's my URL up at the top, and I'm going to get everything after that / delete that piece, and I'm going to make it say copy, and then I will highlight all this, Command C to copy it, and that is the link I'm going to share. You could even take this link out into another document and then remove and change copies so that you're not trying to do it in the URL bar. But that's what that URL will look like. And we've done that here in the top corner, the forced copy. So we're going to share that out with everybody now so that you will get your own forced copy, and we'll share that in the chat. It's also here on the top right corner of the slide deck. Now, because we are making this a forced copy and you'll get your own copy, we're not sharing the slide deck so that we're not going to collaborate and I'll be in the same slide deck. You're going to have your own. I have some rules for how I use an interactive slide deck. And if you decide to use that with your students as well, you should definitely focus on some rules. The rules that I have here are that there are 2 types of slides, blue and orange. Sorry, the screen's loading, but a blue slide, slides that have around it a blue line, those slides are content slides. You don't have to do anything with them. Those will just remind students that there's content, something there for them to learn about. If you see an orange slide, now I'm frozen. If you see an orange slide are the participatory ones. Those include discussion prompts, questions. You will type in answers to those.
Kate, I'm going to say if we keep staying frozen, why don't we just stay in this mode rather than full slideshow for
Yeah,
our
that's fine.
participants?
Yeah, yeah. I like to be able to see it bigger and like be able to view it. But in this case, since we're working in slides and I want to walk around pieces of slides, then it does make sense for us to be in this view. So that is how you'll use your slide deck. Wherever you see an orange slide is where you can interact and you can test something out, something new, maybe that you didn't already know. On slide 8, we kind of laid out just some basics about slides, and we're going to look at them more, so I don't want to go over all of them now. But a few things that we don't really address in our slide deck is that this plus sign on the top corner, this menu bar, the plus sign is where you will add additional slides. There's even a drop-down menu that will allow you to choose the format, how you want the slide to look, whether it has two columns or a title slide. There's also, your undo and redo buttons. You've got a bunch of other things here in this menu bar, including font and bullets. We're going to look heavily at this top, which is more like a toolbar, file, edit, view, insert, and everything that goes into those at the top. And a little bit, we'll talk about slideshow, and you do have a share button at the top. So this is kind of just the overview of what you look at when you see your whole slide deck. If you are missing anything, or we, direct you to something that you don't see, you can always look at the right-hand corner for 3 dots, and sometimes there is more that's hidden if you have a small screen. So we started talking about how you would use slides as interactive work. You can do that, and you can also, with the interactive work, also present them both at the same time. But to talk a little bit about what a presenter view can look like and using dual screens, we made a couple GIFs to help guide you in doing that. So let's say in this case, you're presenting to students and you have a script, or you even have specific questions you want to ask that are not necessarily on the slide, something you want to talk about, you want to remember, and you don't want to carry around a little notebook with notes. You can write in the presenter notes, which are down here, your directions, your instructions. Sometimes I do this, and even though I kind of go off and I'm talking on my own and I'm not literally reading the script, this is really helpful for students who maybe they were in class that day, they didn't get to see you present this, or people at home, families are going to look at this. You have a script that they can go back to if they missed what it is you said, and not everything can be, you don't want everything in the slide. So this is where you'll script. And the presenter, this is called like your presenter notes. When you use presenter view, you'll get 2 pieces. You'll have your presentation, and then you'll also have your notes. And you wouldn't want to project that for everyone to see both at the same time. That'd be silly. So you will need 2 screens, 2 monitors, either your main computer and a projector, or your main computer and a monitor. And you would use this slideshow button. This drop down has presenter view. Presenter view will bring up 2 pieces. You'll need those 2 screens so that you can move the notes onto one of those monitors and the presentation onto the other monitor. And slide 10 shows us how we would do that. On slide 10, I have a little GIF. I want to enlarge it a little bit. On your L4L, and this is specific for Apple devices, but you have the option to have multiple displays. You do on other computers as well, but this GIF is just for your Apple with an update. So if you haven't updated your computer, it's going to look a little different. But you can find it in your display settings, so settings, display. And as Brian found the other day that I didn't know, at the top near your time and date, you actually have this little icon that will also help bring you to your display. By clicking on that, you may see screen mirroring or screen display. You can click on that. It will open up. In this view, as you can see, there's 2 monitors, and this will only pop up if you're connected to another monitor. So if you try to look at it now and you don't have a second monitor, you won't see this. It will only have 1 monitor. But the second you hook up to a second monitor, you'll see the 2, and you would choose main display. Mirror would mean that they have exactly the same thing on them. Main display would mean that there's a main central display and there's a secondary display, which, as you'll see in the GIF, you can move from the left or to the right. So it's imagining that you have a display and you can take out a tab. So you would click something here and you could move this tab to the right or to the left, depending on where you decide you want that other screen to be located. I hope I didn't ruin everything by changing that. So this can be a little confusing, and we're here to help you if you need extra help. You can contact one of us. Somebody in your school, maybe somebody could be there to help you if they do it. It's not too hard once you get used to it, but it is moving that piece to the secondary screen, like literally picking it up and dragging it to the right to an imaginary location that then will appear to be that other screen. So as you see, you can move them around. So if your screen's to your left, it might be easier for you to drag and pull things to the left. But if your screen is located to the right of your main display, you might want to go that way, just so it makes sense in your mind. So we have the GIFs here, and hopefully they can help guide you. Brian,
Me
who's going to talk
inserting
about,
images.
yes.
Inserting images. How much fun is that? So when we think about inserting images, we have a few places that we can get our images from. We can get our images by doing a Google search. We can also get our images from something that we've downloaded onto our desktop or into a folder. We can also insert videos. And the trick with Google Slides is though the videos have to be a YouTube link. So if you do have videos that you want to upload into your Google Slide presentation, meaning videos from your class, you would have to upload it to your YouTube account and then copy that YouTube URL and then insert it back into your slide deck. Thanks, Kate, for giving us the visual. When we think about how does this connect to teaching and learning, right? By adding
Sorry, you had me confused because I was like, do we have a Google Drive link? You can also do it through your Google Drive, but
yep,
you got to make sure your share settings are right. And anyway, yes, I
yep.
agree. I like it in YouTube better. Okay.
Yeah, me too. Much easier in YouTube than from your Google Drive. As Kate was saying, you do have to make sure your share settings are, either the students can view or they can comment or whatever the case may be. So we think about like this videos and images and the connection to our teaching and learning. Visuals are a great way to activate our students' prior knowledge. It also helps them remember key vocabulary that are part of the lesson. And having images in your slide also extends the learning of topic to the students, meaning they now have that visual, they can now make this connection and now they can go on and, go off by themselves. And they can respond to prompts using videos or images. It's a great way for accessibility, a great accessibility feature for all of our students, not just students that may need the features, but like a great way for all of our students to gain access to the content. So thinking also like, how can we have all these hyperlinks or in our documents, in our slides. And a lot of times people will put in these big, URLs that you're like, oh my goodness, they take up like half the page. And what we want to show here is just a shortener, I guess. So if we look here, we have link with unhelpful title over to the right. And, we want to be as explicit as we can for our students, thinking about like UDL, universal design, for all of our students. So they have access. So having a link that just says link here, probably not a great idea, but you could say, click on the link for the picture of the tree, or click on the link for the UDL website. So students that may have some visual impairments can actually hear it being read to them. So instead of just saying click here, they may not know what click here is. So you want to link the entire topic that you are sending to your students. So you want to provide clear directions for students in the hyperlinks. We want to use hyperlinks within a paragraph or to direct our learners to resources about what those words or ideas that they may be struggling about. And one of the nice things we have here is that we can link slides in our own slide deck within the slide deck. It sounds kind of weird, right? So it's like a hyperlink within the slide deck. So you can link it from slide 1 to slide 8 or slide 4 to slide 7. It's pretty neat how to do that. You just click on the link tool and you can see that the slides appear. And if Kate just clicked next slide or any of the slides there, we would be getting a slides from this presentation. So last slide or whatever. So we could link it to any of those slides. So now you can see that it says Kate has just linked that link that was there to slide 29. Thank you from the digital learning team. All right, text boxes and shapes. And what's really neat about text boxes and shapes, it gives the students a nice visual of something that breaks up the text as opposed to just seeing everything written out, whether it's vertical or linear. You can break it out into a focus area for them, like, oh, we want to focus on what's in this green box. These are my directions. So we're being very, Kate, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word.
Explicit.
Explicit. Thank you, Kate. We're being very explicit on where we want to focus our students. So we're providing scaffolds and supports for our students. We can clarify our goals for the students. So in addition to text boxes, we also have shapes. And shapes, very similar. You just double tap into the shape and you can write in the shape. So to insert a shape, you go from your toolbar, shape, and you have all these different shapes. You can change the colors of these shapes, the borders, and arrows to direct someone to a certain location. So you can make this different sizes. If it's facing the wrong way, you can change it by just spinning on that little circle at the top and rotating it around to whichever way you want. And if you double tap in that shape, Kate, and we can just write or type into that shape. And of course, this one's going to be upside down, but that's okay. But you get the idea. Sometimes you don't have to type into the shapes, but you can. All right. So we're going to go to our next slide. For the sake of time, we're just a little bit behind. And a great way to get images into your slide decks are by adding images or screenshots that you may have. It may be a screenshot of student work. It may be a screenshot that you see that can, again, support the student with visuals. It can improve instruction for your students. And it allows your students to have access to visuals that they can use at home during homework or during the class. They can always go back and refer to those visuals. So we have some shortcuts here on our MacBooks, 2 different ways on your MacBook. You can do a Command-Shift-4 and your picture will appear in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. And that is like taking a screenshot of your entire picture. Remember the old days where you had to do like Shift print screen and you'd get the screenshot of your whole computer. So that's what that is. But if you wanted to just take a screenshot of a certain spot or a certain section or an image, you just do Command Control Shift and 4, and that copies it to your clipboard. And then you just paste it to wherever you want. So Kate, do you mind just doing a Command Control Shift 4 over one of the shortcuts there? And you can see that we have, looks like a target of some sort. She's highlighting what she wants to copy, and then if she right clicks it, and it should paste right into her document. It may not as we are in slideshow mode. Oh, there we go. So if we paste it, now you can see that Kate just took a picture of or a screenshot of that entire thing. And what's nice about this is that you can focus in on just a small section and you don't have to crop all that much. As you can see that Kate has put in that screenshot. All right. And another nice feature is by using screenshots, it's something called drag and drop. So it's a feature where you can use your mouse to pick up an image or a file that's in another location and drag it from one location to another. So it's great when you have something saved to your desktop and you can just grab it, or from your photos, and you can just grab it and hold on to it and just drag it into your slide deck. Kate, could you go to slide 15 if that's possible? Thanks. So practicing taking screenshots and then adding them to this page. So what we'd like to is take a couple minutes, search for an image, something that you may have on your computer, and just drag and drop it into your own slide deck.
And actually, as a reminder, all the previous slides that had this orange banner are slides that you can practice these skills with. So you can see the instructions and then practice with them. So not just the screenshots, but you could do any of them if there was one that you didn't know yet.
Thanks, Kate. So take 2 minutes to do that, and then we'll come back. All right. So we hope that was a great experience for you, a great exercise in practicing adding screenshots to your slide deck. So I'm going to pass this over to Kate. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Brian. So now we have a couple more of these skills to tell you about. This one is one of my favorites. I haven't been using this one quite enough, but I think that a lot of teachers could get a lot out of using it. These are audio files, and audio files can be used for a host of things, whether you're using interactive docs or whether you have these screen shows for the whole class. So maybe you're talking about birds and sounds that they make, and you want to actually have the recording of that. You can get those sounds and get them onto your slide deck. Another option is if you have students who maybe aren't completely reading the slides yet and you want to go ahead and make the recording, read the directions for them, you can use either Audacity or Vocaroo. Vocaroo is the one that I know. So I'm going to click on that one, and I'm going to make an audio file really quickly so that you can see how easy it is. I might be wrong. It's not, no, it's easy. It's easy. So you make a quick recording and make sure that your microphone is not blocked. So it says they want to use your microphone. You have to say allow. Hello, my name is Kate Smith-Ziegler, and I'm here to present lots of things about slide decks. I stop it. Now I do save and share, download. This is now going to download to my computer, and it has, Vocaroo, so that's helpful. Cool, thank you. I have to go into my drive to upload it. That's the annoying part, but that's just how Google likes to be. So I'll do new, file upload, and I'm going to grab that file, that Vocaroo file. It was the last one there, so if I do it all at once, it's kind of easy. So now it should be in my drive, and there is a little annoying part. There it goes. I think we still have to make sure that our share settings are good. I don't know why Google does that so often, but hello, my name is Kate Smith-Ziegler, and I'm here to present. Okay, so it worked. And then I'm going to go to my share settings, and I'm going to make sure that my share settings say anyone with the link. Done. Okay, now those are good. So I can come over here, and in my audio file, I'll do this insert audio Google Drive. Insert audio. And then I just put it in my Google Drive, so it should be right here for me. I can go to recents if that's better. There we go. Boom. Now it's going to come out really little and small. And I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to place it wherever I want. And this can be you reading your directions, put next to the directions. It could be different audio recordings that you get. You can get recordings from your phone. The thing is just that you got to get into Google Drive. Once that's a audio file in Google Drive, you're good. Now this is much better than having students have to click out and go to audio somewhere else. Okay, so I do write that here: download file and upload to Google Drive, and kids can just press play. There you go to hear it. Okay, that's audio files. Now I'm gonna clear this out and move on to tables. I really think tables are super important if you're going to use interactive docs. In this case, I'm going to just show you a table. This is an example of how I use a table so that I can give directions where here's the directions and here's the response I'm expecting a student to leave. You can change the colors inside the table, the colors of the font, and the lines as well. It is a little bit easier than just sort of like expecting students to just write on the slide itself. Having a really clear spot for them can be helpful. You can also use tables to express other parts, other concepts as well. And that's super easy. It is insert table, and the table can have two columns or three, and then you can also, how many rows do you want it to have? And you can fill it in however you want, or have students fill in something if they need to. Okay, so that's super easy. And then editing themes is the like second to last part. This was a little bit more complicated, so I'm going to take a breath here. Editing themes is really helpful if you want to change something in every slide. That's kind of the most of the use that I really use it for. For example, on our slides here, we have a BPS technology logo. Let's say you're doing like 3 units and you want to label them 1, 2, 3, and you want every slide to say 1, every slide to say 2, something. This is the whole unit on turtles. I want a little turtle on every slide, or maybe I want my Bitmoji on every slide. There's a host of reasons why you may want to do this, and I'm just going to show you how it looks. So slide, edit theme. So slide, edit theme. Now this box is going to come up of all of your slides, and your main theme slide is at the very top, and you'll see theme here. This is your main theme slide. So this is where this BPS technology logo goes, and then it appears on all my slides. If I delete it here, it will be deleted from all my slides. This also is helpful if you've borrowed a slide deck from somebody else and you want to alter it and change it, and you don't want, maybe maybe they had some other images in the background that's not what you're doing, or you just want the look of it, but you don't want that background, you would use this. Okay, so here, let's say I'm going to insert something, and I'm just going to use, because we're doing these things, I'm going to use search the web, and I'm going to insert like like a puppy. Let's find like a cute puppy. Maybe this is the unit on dogs. Okay, so I'm gonna pick up, drag him over here. He's not gonna appear because I've been having issues with this not working. Okay, hold on. I don't know why it's not working for me. It should work.
I've had the same issue. Yeah,
It's being
I've had to click and then select. Yeah.
so weird. So yeah, you can also click and then hit insert. Um, This is a super cute puppy, and I just want a puppy on every single one of my slides. So I'm gonna make him really small and over in the corner. And then as you can see, he's kind of appearing on every one of these slides. And some of these other layouts have like blocks over them, so he's getting hidden. So I could go into those layouts and move this around if I wanted. But this is how, through the main theme, is how you'll edit every slide, every subsequent slide, if you wanted to add your Bitmoji picture. And then you can edit the specific layout. So if I wanted this one says, your title slide, if I wanted to edit that, I can do that. One really cool thing, you've got to click reapply to all if you make any changes, is also you could do a whole background, and you can play around with these and see how they look. But you also have options to alter your colors by clicking on the color and looking at so this is the color of your text in your background. Maybe you want all of your text to be, I don't know, dark green. You can change that here. Maybe you want this one. I had to change. Google Slides started making the links like a kind of green, and I didn't like that. So I wanted it to go back to the old school blue. So I clicked on link and I changed the color of my links. So you can, it's kind of hard to tell what's your accent here, what's your accent there, but you can play around with changing the colors and seeing them all throughout your slide deck changed. Now, I didn't bring you here to show you how to completely change a deck, but just to show you a couple things you can do with the master slide deck. All right, and I'm gonna click that X and it will take us back. All right, and now this is our last one, is animation. You would use animation if let's say you were giving out maybe there's like a do now kind of like 5 questions, and you want to post those 5 questions, but you don't want the answers to show up until later. You can put your questions on one column and then be able to present them, and then on a click, allow the answers to show up. Now, I do have directions here for you. So I'm just going to walk through just a real quick animation. But let's say I wanted this whole box. I wanted number 1 to come out, number 2. This is kind of like the old school PowerPoint way. Number 1, number 2, then number 3. I will click on all of this and I will right click to animate. That animation piece will come up on the side and it says appear on click. So it's good. That's what I want. But I want not the whole thing at once. I want it 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll click by paragraph. And then I don't know if I can do this from here. I want to add an animation. I want the flower to come out later. So I'm going to add the flower after to appear on click. And I can test that out by clicking play. And you can use click or you can use the arrow keys too. So as you see, 1, 2, they're all coming out as I do these clicks. And then the last one will be the flower. Boom. That way, not everything comes out all at once. And that would be really helpful in like a slideshow scenario. Okay. Like a presentation, I mean. So because we made this a interactive slideshow, I've got a reflection for you, which is of all the features you just looked at, which one do you plan to use in your next slide deck? Like, this is the one I'm going to use next, and type your response in now. And we'll take a minute for you to just take all that in and decide what you're going to use next.
So welcome back. I hope you enjoyed playing around and adding images and changing your themes and adding animations so you can present information in a different way to your students. Another way to present information to your students is using a GIF. So thinking of like the topics that you're studying in class, and it's a great way to bring the students' attention to that image about what you are studying with them. And Kate has put in here Giphy.com. It's an extension where you can search for different topics, and you can add these GIFs to your projects or to your student projects. Students can add them to their projects. And it's a great way for your students to, again, express themselves, how they're feeling, what they're thinking. It's a great way for social emotional communication with your students if they're, a little hesitant to tell you verbally how they're feeling or don't want to share that with the teacher. But this is a great way for them to quietly tell you about how they're doing. And using GIFs, they can be helpful, but they can also be distracting. So, consider using them sparingly because, some students may not like the lights, may not like the flickering, but they can heighten the understanding of the vocabulary words. You can share ASL translation of keywords, and you can show simple steps on repeat. So thinking about like Kate was creating those GIFs at the beginning on the slide deck on how to insert an image or how to insert, I believe it was not a table, but one of the other ones, it was insert, or you change your presenter view with 2 screens. By adding those GIFs in there, it wasn't a stagnant picture. It was something that was just going back and replaying it, just rewind play type of thing. So these are great ways for you to give tutorials to your students, in steps, getting the Giphy extension that Kate has linked here. I think we're running out of time though, so maybe we could do that on our own time. And then using GIFs for keywords and then dragging and dropping them into your slide deck. It's a great way, again, for you to play around and to do it. So Kate's going to click on the Giphy extension, Kate. And then, oh my goodness. So let's type in dogs again, Kate. How's that sound?
Who doesn't love a dog?
Who doesn't love a dog? I got to tell you.
Yeah.
So we can just grab that GIF of that dog and just drag and drop it right into our slide deck. And it's creating the image, and it just may take a few moments for it to appear on your slide deck.
There was one little weird thing that was happening is the like who made it will kind of like pop up. Yeah, here's it. So this is like via best friends, and it's kind of like on top of your GIF. So all you have to do is kind of like there's two pieces actually. One is on top of the other. So you just have to like separate them.
Think of it
Um,
as layers, and it's okay.
yeah, they're layers. So it can be done. It's just like clicking around. There we go. Until you can get this layer out. And then you can put it at the very bottom if you want to give credit. Um, but yeah, don't leave it on top of the other GIF. That would be distracting. So if I take it out, I'm like just like put it to the corner.
Perfect. All right, Kate, we are up against the clock, so we do have a few more slides. So, Kate, do you want to talk about professional learning?
I'm way too into GIFs.
Yes, you are.
Sure. And we do have the slide here for you to practice making some GIFs on. But yeah, I think we're pretty much done, and we have a couple slides at the end to share with you. One is some of our professional learning. Like, for example, this webinar is going to be posted on our on-demand PD site here. You can also request PD at your school or have a coach or somebody who creates PD at your school request that we come in and do some of this work with everybody. Check out these links. We also have a lending library that's mostly for computer science, but if you know anybody, you can share these with. Because I was changing the colors of the links, as you can see, I've got lots of link colors here at the end, but that's why. So all of these are our BPS technology links. Some really important ones for you to know about are help docs. So when you're encountering any weird issues with Chromebooks or resetting student passwords or whatever, check out our help docs and give a little search and see if the answer is there for you so you don't get so frustrated having to find the person with the answer. You can also subscribe to our newsletter. We have our website here and our service desk number in case you need that. If you want to contact us directly, that's me, Kate Smith-Sigler, or Brian Vitorisi. You've got our emails and our Calendly links where you can set up a 30-minute time slot with us to, walk you through something that's frustrating you or confusing you. We do have weekly a bunch of those slots open for anybody who needs them. And we thank you so much for your time. We have a feedback form, and we really value your feedback, whether you're attending live or whether you are watching this later. We would love for your feedback on other webinars or how this webinar went or other webinars that we can do to support the community in using technology. And again, we thank you. This is the entire digital learning team on this final slide, sending all of our thanks to everybody.
Thank you all for joining us.
Hope to see you again.
Bye now.